All right, I'm going to start this bullshit because I'm not waiting for him.
Oh, well, we're off.
Tiger Bomb Tom's out doing tripod things. So, I don't understand that life. Never have. Because
Never will.
Let's face it. Rin Tin Tin.
But,
all right, I'm going to shut up for a second and then I'm going to do a thing. Ready?
all right. Do all the things.
Here we go. Poot, if you listen to this to figure out where to start, no tomfoolery and cockfuckery. I was like, oh, I'll put a little bit of I'll put a little of this in the intro snippet. Nope. We're not rolling that way. It's in a dictatorship. I don't give a shit if you're the technology boy. But we don't play this. This is a democracy. You gotta run these things by the two of us. He won't listen. And he'll do what he wants too, because he's a bitch. Alright, Beef, just be quiet and we'll do the thing.
You're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
It's Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast time, because that's allegedly what we do on Thursdays of the week in which you listen to this show. But it might be next week, because sometimes the shows don't go up on time, and then they sometimes they get edited, and they get put up like Monday of the next week, or Wednesday of the day before we record the show. Sometimes they get lost in the
Monday,
void.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yes, you should have brought in a snack. Strap in. We're going to talk about wrestling. Because, God help us, that's what we do. Because no one else out on the internet talks about wrestling. So we're going to make tons of money doing this bullshit. False. Everybody else makes money. We don't. Because we're idiots. And we have poo for technology. And the guy that records these episodes lives in Clearfield. And the last time they heard of the internet, it was dial-up. They're just now getting into DSL. So that's why we can't be professional. Alec Ransom, Beef the Legend, the two of us bozos are here by ourselves to talk to you about wrestling. Later to be joined by Poot the Bard. He'll stroll in whenever his minstrel time is done. Not menstrual, minstrel. It's different. Minstrel time. Yeah, when his minstrel day is over, he'll be joining us to talk about wrestling. I don't know why. He can make more money doing minstrel things. Or menstrual. I mean, let's face it, that's a booming industry.
Can
he could do... Yeah, he can. Have you seen his guitar work?
Oh, he's incredible. Yeah.
Do you know how much money he's made off of his guitar work and his minstreling? All of it much more than we've made off of this show.
Do you know how long he's been doing it? And how much of a profit he's made?
No!
I love you, Poot.
And it doesn't matter, because he's been doing it. The profit he's made off of that is more profit than we've made off of this show. And the saddest thing about it is... No.
Technically,
Go on.
ahead.
No,
I was just saying, technically somebody bought a shirt, so I mean, there was profit for somebody somewhere.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see any of that money. None of that got put into my PayPal account. So let me just say this. Poot is making more money off of his minstreling than I have over the entirety that we've been ranting and raving on this alleged podcast. But let's get back to the point, okay? Poot will be joining later. Tiger Bomb's out. He's tripoding. He's out of the band. Because ain't nobody need that third leg in this shit show. So it's Beef the Legend and Alec Ransom right here, right now, talking at you. We're going to come at you hot, come at you hard. That's what she said. What do you think about this? I didn't even know this was a thing, really, until I stumbled upon the Busted Open podcast, which I don't listen to on any sort of frequency. So at first, I thought that freaking New Yorker that was talking was...
Like Greca. Russo.
Yeah, I thought it was
Dude.
Russo.
He fucking sounds like Russo, but all fucking people from Long Island sound the same. Forgive me if one of the fucking 8 listeners we have is from Long Island.
Nah,
I don't
and
mean
listen,
to offend
man,
you.
I've heard people from Long Island before. This dude, I swear to you, I thought that it was Vince Russo and Bully Ray talking. Like, I know, like, they have different, I know the Long Island accents and everything, but this dude's voice was the exact voice of Vince Russo, and it scared the shit out of me, because I'm like, holy crap, when did Bully Ray and Vince Russo really start talking wrestling? But anyway, I didn't know that there was any sort of controversy regarding Kairi Sane until I listened to this episode of the Busted Open podcast.
Or Kairi Sane, if you listen to how they say it.
Yeah, Kairi Sane.
Kairi Sane. They kept saying Kairi. I'm like, what the fuck is a Kairi? It's Kairi,
Yeah.
you fucking schlubs.
Yeah, mooks.
How the fuck are they making more money than we are? I mean, all credit word to Bully Ray. The dude's a fucking wonderful wrestler and a great gimmick and all that. Yeah, you know, just because they got fucking better audio equipment, our opinions are better. Damn it, we got better hot takes.
Okay, so
Fuck those schlubs.
shifting back into reality. Apparently, people have taken issue. I don't know how many people. All I know is that Bully Ray and Vince Russo 2.0, even Russo-ier, have taken issue with the tweet that Kairi Sane sent out like 3 minutes after Asuka had a freak out about losing her tag team partner, like thanking everybody, saying, "Oh, it was great to wrestle here," and blah blah blah. Insert generic "thank you WWE for the opportunity" tweet. Like, she's not the first to do it. She won't be the last to do it.
Nope.
But apparently, these two guys are freaking out because, and of all the hills to die on, when it comes to the reality of wrestling, I don't know why this is it. We just saw Extreme Rules with the eye for an eye match, and this is the controversy that you're going to freak out on and say you're killing the reality of the wrestling business.
To be fair, we did not listen to their follow-up episode on the eye for an eye incident, so LaGreca may have fucking lost his stupid shit then too.
I listened to that episode.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
There was no losing of shit. It was pretty much, if I can remember correctly, and we'll get back to Kairi Kabuki saying here in a second.
That's offensive. You can't say that.
I can say whatever I want to, and I don't give a crap. Come get me.
All right. Come get me.
From what I took away from that episode of Extreme Rules, it was pretty much everything that we touched on and talked about. I think all of us are kind of in agreement. One of the two guys, Russo 2.0 or Bully Ray, brought up the fact that how are you going to pop this guy's eye out of his head by pushing it into the steps? Okay, that's legit. We talked about that. That's a bone I had with it. Like, that's bullshit. Like, yeah, and they made fun of Samoa Joe by saying, "It's out, his eye is out." They basically thought it was stupid. You know, like, how are you gonna, like, this is the wrestling thing that you're booking nowadays. It's, 2020, you want wrestling to be taken seriously. This is wrestling for you. Eye for an eye, let's take a guy's eye out. They even brought up how what's her face in the back came on the screen and was like, the optic nerve may not be severed, and if that's the case, the eye can be salvaged at the local medical facility. And they kind of laughed like, "Oh, your eye's going to pop out of your head and you're going to go to a Med Express." Because WWE can't say hospital. Because that's, I don't know why. I don't know why you can't say hospital on WWE, but apparently you can't. Anyway, these two guys were very upset about the tweet that Kairi Sane, Kairi Kabuki, sent out shortly after Asuka had her breakdown on Raw about the beating that she took from who were the people that beat these girls up?
Bailey.
From Bailey.
Bailey did the beat.
They basically said that, her sending out this tweet this soon, and it wasn't the fact that she sent out the tweet, it was the fact that she sent out the tweet at the timing that she did. Like, right after Raw, that's when the tweet went out. They said, if she would have waited a week or a month, they would have been fine with it. But it was the timing of it that really got their ire up. since it was right after Raw, bam, here's the tweet thanking them for their, whatever. Basically saying that, you're taking the illusion out of wrestling, you're taking the believability out of wrestling, you're making Bayley look pretty much just, weak and stupid because she was supposed to have, beat this girl down so bad that she had to leave the business. But, she sends out this tweet and, oh, thank you, blah, 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 basically exposing everything. I didn't realize that there was still kayfabe in wrestling.
Oh, is there?
I didn't realize, welcome Poot the Bard.
Yes, hi.
Welcome to the Ransom Cast. This has been 10 minutes of just random rambling.
Shut up.
Is it
the one podcast that I talk 10 minutes straight, suddenly, Beef has an episode where he shits his pants. Oh my gosh, I can't even say something. Ransom's talked for an entire 7 minutes.
This is the Beef Driver Beefcast with Dr. Ransom.
Yeah, sorry I'm breaking kayfabe on the Beef Driver Beefberg Beefcast. But you know what? That's not the way the reality works. Poot, did you see how upset these two guys on Busted Open were over the tweet that Kairi Sane sent out?
No, fill me in.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick recap. Ready? Here we go.
Go.
Kairi Sane got a beat down by Bayley. That was her last appearance on Raw. She's leaving to go home to do whatever Japanese or Asian or Chinese or Korean. She's going home to cook in a wok and do whatever they do.
Well then.
Apparently at the end of Raw, Asuka was super upset over, the destruction of her tag team partner. She was freaking out. She's losing her mind, blah, blah, blah. Storyline. Right after Raw goes off the air, Kairi Sane allegedly, apparently, at some point, very soon to these incidents transpiring on Raw, Kairi Sane sends out this tweet. Insert obligatory thank you WWE tweet here. Thank you to these guys. What a great experience. Blah, blah, blah. Really appreciate it. All the things. I've really grown. La, la, la experience. People do that all the time. So these two mooks on the Busted Open podcast, please don't hurt me, Bully Ray. They're very upset about the timing of this tweet. Not the fact that she sent the tweet, but the timing of it, because they're saying that it's taking away the reality of the wrestling business. When she supposedly was beaten down so bad that she has to leave WWE, and Asuka is losing her mind and being so upset about her tag team partner being hurt by Bayley, and then 3 minutes after this takes place, she sends out this tweet. They're very upset. They said it makes Bayley look weak. It takes all the reality out of it. They said, it was such a great spot. It was such a great thing. They were so engrossed in it. And as soon as they saw that tweet, it ruined the entire thing for them. And it was just the worst thing that's ever happened in wrestling.
I'll tell you what.
Listen.
I'll tell you what it was. It was fucking Jim Cornette coming out of Vince Russo's mouth, even though it was David LaGreca saying it. The entire time that LaGreca
it was very Jim Cornette-ish.
The entire time that fucking vein was bulging in LaGreca's head to the final big burst of "fuck you" that he said. It was 100% Jim Cornette.
Oh, it did. It really sounded very Jim Cornette-ish.
The only salient point that Bully Ray made. So I have never heard the Busted Open podcast because I'm a fucking podcaster. Apparently, I guess it's my job to listen to other podcasters. Anyway. I've never heard it. I was expecting Bully Ray to be the fucking guy who's like, oh, what a dumb thing to do, blah blah blah, and I was expecting LaGreca to be the straight man. And Bully Ray made a salient point though. He said, "You," talking to Dave LaGreca, "you who has had the curtain pulled back 110%, you who is so ingratiated with what the product really, really is, what's actually happening. You had this, you were in the moment. You forgot for just the slightest of a second that you were in the moment. You had the emotions, everything was happening, and this tweet, took it away from you. Now, here, there's a couple straw men. There's a couple straw men in this argument. The first of which is that thinking that Twitter is the all-knowing, all-fucking-seeing Eye of Sauron. There are lots of people, the three of us included, who don't give two fucks about Twitter, who don't do shit on Twitter, who don't fucking get notified when the people that we follow tweet.
I can't tell you the last time I was on there. Like, I really can't.
Right.
I can't tell you the last time I signed on. I have no idea.
Because Twitter is a fucking dumpster fire that whenever somebody tries to do something good, like sending out a tweet of thank you and all these wonderful pictures, that fucking two people find such fault with it that they have to fucking drone on for 40 minutes about it. That is fucking Twitter in a nutshell. So, I mean, it was entertaining. You know, they a couple times Bully Ray had me busting, but I mean, you know, that's the old guard mentality, man. Kayfabe is dead. Correct me if I'm wrong, but kayfabe is dead. Finding
it's long
a mark,
dead.
Yeah,
long dead.
Finding a mark now is like finding a fucking unicorn. They exist. I'm telling you. Follow some of the WWE fan pages like Seth Rollins, Sasha Banks, etc., Kevin Owens. The marks pop up there like crazy. And I don't know what it is, but man, like, so they're out there. They're crawling around, they're fucking like 8 little feet, like spiders in their damn webs.
Okay.
Yeah, man, the fucking marks are out there. But,
Very
that being said, the majority, everybody knows the fucking act. Like, nobody's sitting in Infinity War and then, like, in the middle of in the middle of Infinity War, pull out their fucking phone and go, oh man, Chris Evans tweeted this? Well, you know, now Infinity War is ruined. No! First of all, if you're as committed to the product as you say that you're trying to be, stay the fuck off of social media until after the fucking show. Like this, so here's my only gripe, and I'll keep it short and sweet because I know you want to get in here.
No, you're good. You're fine.
The fact that Kairi tweeted it during the show, I thought that was unprofessional because she should know that, hey, the show's over at 11. At 11, I can throw this out there. She tweeted it in the middle of the show. I don't give a fuck if she was just run the fuck over. I don't care if she was just blown up in a limo.
No.
I don't care. She can send that tweet out. If that's the last segment, and they go off the air and Asuka's losing her mind, and then credits roll and fucking Wipeout comes on or whatever the fuck it is with the Miz, you know, credits roll and she sends out the tweet, that's fine. The only thing that gets to me is the fact that it was sent out during the show. I think that was a poor. That's my only issue with the timing. It doesn't hurt anybody. It just, you know, to me that's a little bit unprofessional. That's all I have to say about it.
So real quick here, Pooh, just to give you a little bit more background on what was said on this podcast. And Beef, correct me if I paraphrase this incorrectly. What's the guy's name?
David LaGreca.
David LaGreca. I can't remember that name. I don't know why. He said that there's a difference between scripted and fake. And after this tweet went out, this whole like segment or, you know, storyline or whatever was fake. It became fake. And that was another like big point that he seemed to bring up was, you know, it wasn't scripted anymore. It was fake. Fake. And he's screaming it. Fake.
That's right, I'm using the F word. Fake.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he was all about that. Like this is what this breaks your brain. This thing here. This fact that she tweeted while it was still during the show or right after the show or whenever. Like that is what broke you. Not the eye for an eye match. Not all the different times that characters have been killed.
Not Mae Young giving birth to a hand.
No hand births, no deaths, no matter how many times The Undertaker goes to hell and comes back again. Let's not forget the fact that Kane was burned and mauled and destroyed. Nah, suck it. Nope, he's fine. In fact, he's a mayor now. Yeah, this is what you're dying on. Like this hill you're dying on. We just saw the dumbest match that I have seen in a long time. I can't remember a dumber match than the eye for an eye match. Who do we lose? Did I go or did somebody else go?
Nope, we're good.
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, that was me. But this is what breaks your brain. Not the stupidity of the eye for an eye match. Not the stupidity that happened after the eye for an eye match, where they said, "Oh, if the optic nerve's not severed, he'll be fine. He's at a local medical speedway. Don't worry about it, folks." Like
A local medical speedway?
Like this is what breaks you. The fact that she tweeted something over all the stupid shit that WWE has done. This is what makes you go, you're destroying the reality of the wrestling business. Like this, you're destroying it. You're shitting all over it. Fake. Bullshit. I don't get it. I don't understand why this one thing
Dude, maybe
caused that much outrage.
Legit, maybe for him, it was just, this was like, in his mind, the straw that broke the camel's back.
You think that's what it could be? Like, this could be it. Fine, like, I've had enough. This is what sends me over the edge, this tweet.
But, yeah, I mean, and I get it, because how old is LaGreca?
I have no idea.
50s.
He's in his 50s. He's... I mean, I get it, like, for guys like him, like, it's, you know, and was it really prudent of Kairi to tweet that still during the show? Not really. But, again, I guarantee you, if he didn't throw this little hissy fit on his podcast, no one would have really cared. No one, it would have been a non-issue. People would have just been like, oh, it was nice to see Kairi here while she's going back to Japan. Cool. Like, that would have been it. Like, that there wouldn't have been anyone yelling and screaming. There probably would have been people who said, like, oh, that was not the best move. I don't know about that. Oh, well. And then it would have been non-news. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing that Bully said, is that, you know, there's you're dumb for losing your mind about it, because in a week we're not going to care. So I understand the tent poles at which this is constructed. You have a very emotional segment, to wit, Asuka, who has fought her entire career to be Raw champion, basically walked away from that belt to check on her friend. And after she came out of the trainer's room, she was so broken up and, like, upset, and then, like, went into, like, Asuka rage. Okay, like, yes, they did a wonderful job of crafting that and really making it compelling. So, like, I understand that, but again, it's the same principle, man. Like, you know, you don't sit there and watch a television show, whether you are into it or not, and then, like, go on Twitter, look at something somebody said during filming, after filming, fucking, you know, foot in the hand while the camera's on, whatever, and go, oh man, well that ruins it. No, because it's entertainment, and that is the point of delineation, I think. So, like, I like to claim to be a pretty old school guy. I love old school wrestling. That's you know, tag ropes and the whole shebang.
Don't really know if you can claim to be an old school wrestling guy whenever you're such a big fan of cinematic matches. I feel like those don't really go hand in hand.
I think Beef, correct me if I'm wrong, you're using the terms of, like, I'm an old school fan of, like, the traditions, like you said, tag ropes, maybe
technical, you know, the wrestling. I value
wrestling and stuff like that.
Yep. I value catch wrestling, the stuff they do out in the UK, like the stuff they do on NXT takeovers, AEWs. You know, good wrestling matches, and yeah, the flippy do shits. Okay, they're fun to watch too. But I will go out of my way to watch a Zack Sabre Jr. match for 15 minutes of him just, like, worming around into different holds. Like, that's, you know, an old school mentality. So that being said, you know, we, the general populace that watch wrestling, need to understand that kayfabe is dead. DED, dead, gone, buried. There are so many points of delineation in which kayfabe died.
Super dead. It's not even just regular dead. It's super dead.
Yeah,
It is dead. It came back as a zombie. It was killed as a zombie. Now it's super dead.
You can talk about Katie Vick. You can talk about the finger poke of doom. You can talk about Goldberg's streak. You can talk about Russo winning the title. You can talk about Arquette winning the title. You heard me. The Montreal Screwjob. Any of these points are a point of delineation that Kayfabe probably died in. Okay, so that's past and gone. This is entertainment. It is not a sport, and that is the problem. Is that these guys, Bully, LaGreca, Cornette, people of that era, probably about 10 to 15 years older than us, to be honest. They had a different experience watching wrestling and enjoying wrestling growing up. One that was more quote unquote pure. I think they even said that. I think Bully even said that it was the most purest enjoyment. Where I think LaGreca said that he or no, it was some caller. If some caller said that he knew wrestling, or he didn't know wrestling was real until it wasn't, until he didn't. So like, I get the mentality, but man, we're in a different age now, and again, my only thing is that you put out a tweet during quote unquote company time. Like if it were you, me, or Poot, and we're sitting there tweeting at work, and our boss finds out, they're gonna be like, oh, fuck this guy, like he's gone. Like, regardless of the tweet, like, you shouldn't be tweeting while you're working. Again, it's Corona. We know that the WWE's taping weeks ahead at the Performance Center. Like, we know that this all happened, I think, last week. The cat's out of the bag.
That's the thing. Like, she wasn't tweeting at work. Like, it was taped a week before.
Yeah.
And she tweeted, then she just had... It was just bad timing. She just happened to send that tweet while Raw was being broadcast. Like, she wasn't there. She wasn't in her ring gear, just having gotten to the back.
Let me ask you
it was just bad timing on her part.
Do you think it would have been better received if she sent that tweet before Raw, knowing that it was taped last week? And do you think that she knew that like this was going to be her grand send off? Which
are you asking
WWE...
like
yeah? So
does the general public think, or what does Alec Ransom think?
What does Alex Ransom and Put the Bar think? Like, what do you guys think it would be a bigger backlash if she did it before rather than during?
I don't know from Backlash, but to me, see what I did there? Copyright infringement. To me, it wouldn't have made a difference either way, because I understand that there's no such thing as kayfabe anymore. These are actors. They are athletic actors. That's what they are. They're not, as much as it pains some people to hear it, they're not wrestlers anymore. They're athletic actors and actresses. So she could have sent it before Raw, during Raw, after Raw, a week after Raw, a month after Raw. She could have pulled her phone out as she was walking up the ramp and been caught on camera sending this tweet. None of that would have made a difference to me. Because, pardon me, the cat was already out of the bag long before she sent this tweet. It had been reported that she was done. She's going home. She's gone from WWE permanently for a little bit. Who knows? But it was reported long before that match was televised that she was done. So it's not like anything. It wasn't breaking news. It wasn't a shock. Because if you follow any sort of online wrestling forum page, whatever they're called now, technology, like you knew this was it. It had been reported already. So the timing of her tweet would have made a little difference for me because we already knew it was happening. I'm pretty sure one of us shared it in the group page, in our dumb little P3 podcast Facebook group page, that she was done. Like, we all knew. So the timing of her tweet would have meant absolutely nothing to me because I already knew it was happening. Pooters?
Like, I mean, really, I honestly think that it's not a big deal. Like, I think it was probably not in. I think she should have waited until at least after the show was over. But I mean, we all knew. So it's not. The writing was on the wall. The news was out. It was all but academic at that point. So I think that was just kind of a mistake on Kairi, and at this point, it doesn't really matter. Like, so I'm not really upset about it, and I think that people, I think the reason that LaGreca had such a negative reaction and so much that it's like, I don't know. It's. I think
negative reaction to it.
I just think that I understand. I understand I get the mentality, but I don't understand it, if that makes sense. Like for him to be that butthurt over it, and also like, I don't know. I think it's just that he's making it a bigger deal than it needs to be.
No, you know what it is? It's because he's a businessman. Like, when do our episodes spike? Have you noticed? I've noticed. It's whenever we get all flippity flammed out and somebody gets all pissed off on a fucking nut and we just go. And we're pissed off about an eye for an eye, or we're pissed off about the fucking Firefly Funhouse match or something. Like, those are the ones that get the fucking views, is whenever somebody loses their ever-loving gourd over something so fucking stupid and trivial that we're going to forget about it in 2.5 weeks. Not that, the Firefly Funhouse or the Eye for an Eye match qualify under that. I'm just saying. Like, that's what LaGreca's doing. It's fucking boosting business.
So you think he knew what he was doing, getting all fiery about that?
Oh my, yes.
Okay, so you think in reality, he could give two shits less. But he's getting fired up on this podcast so that people will subscribe and listen to this podcast.
Yep, same as Cornette. I don't think Corny is as fucking like crazy and as fucking tight-lipped as, or I guess tightly wound. I guess is
tightly wound. All right,
tightly wound. Right. As we think he is. I think he's just a fucking character. Like, just like you're Ransom, just like I'm Beef the Legend, just like he's Poot the Bard. Like, yes, they are extensions of themselves, but this fucking like oh my god, I can't believe that this stupid thing that's a big fucking deal. He looked at Twitter and he saw all the reacts and whatever, and he was like, well, here's today's story. I get it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, that makes more sense than in my mind than him being legitimately upset over this tweet. That makes a lot more sense what you're saying.
He's like, oh, I tossed it, I turned all night, I couldn't fucking sleep. I'm like, dude, you know what? Like, if the worst thing in your world causing you not to sleep between Monday and Tuesday is a tweet that Kairi Sane put out there, then you know what? Fucking consider yourself lucky, brother.
Well, that's a fair statement.
Anyway, so let's talk about a fucking treasure, shall we? Let's talk about
are you referring to the guy, the man?
Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh my god, I went out and I watched some of AEW, and like my sister was watching with me, and she's she knows about wrestling, but she's not a big wrestling fan. And whenever I saw that Maxwell Jacob Friedman was coming out to cut a promo, and I was like, oh boy. And I was so just already tickled that we were getting an MJF promo. And he came out and did that. And like my sister was sitting listening to him, and she was like laughing and grinning and going, what a good heel. Like MJF.
Low-key, Brittany loves MJF. He's probably her second favorite wrestler right now. So that's saying something. Like she pays like tertiary attention to it. But yeah, like when MJF's on the screen, like fucking phones down, tablets down, eyes are up, scream, man.
And that's why I said, dude, he is not character wise, but how the quality of a talent. In my opinion, and this is a big, dumb, bold statement, MJF is the second coming of a Ric Flair. He just is.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like, he's...
Yeah, man.
No, man. He is the first coming of MJF.
That's okay, that's fair. But, like, it's the fact that it's, like, this quality of talent... we can sit here and go, the once in a generation talent.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Bruno Sammartino, Ric Flair, Macho Man. MJF, in my opinion, is in that league.
Oh, yes.
Already.
Oh,
And he's,
yes.
23, 24?
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Here's the best part of it. Like, this whole fucking bit was filled with schlock. They have the fucking, like, MJF, 2020 posters, and they have him with the stupid, like, lady secretary, and they have, quote-unquote, like, Secret Service with him, and the flag, and the stand in the ring, and I'm like, oh, man. Like, this is, like, wrestling in the 80s schlock. Like, this big, stupid, dumb gimmick. And, like, MJF just takes it and goes, you know what? Here I go, motherfuckers.
And then
his references to Hulk Hogan and to Stone Cold were just glorious.
He had me at the beginning. Whenever his assistant walked over to him and said, okay, I'll stick with the script. But you know what? Why don't you smile more? You look a lot better when you smile.
Oh.
Like, I was like, there it is. Like, this dude fucking slays. Like, man.
Easily.
He fucking knows what he's doing. And so well.
At every turn. Like, it's perfect. It's pitch perfect. Like, when you can, like I said, when you can get a non-wrestling fan to go, oh, what a good bad guy. Like,
oh, yeah.
And
you have something then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that when he kicked off the promo with that moment, Beef, that you just said, why don't you smile more? You look a lot better when you smile. Like that, I immediately was like, oh, we're in for a good one. Like,
and
strap in, here comes the treat.
Fucking delivered. Fucking and the best part is, like, he is that, like, technical talent that I was talking about, like Zack Sabre Jr. Maybe not to that level, but he's pretty damn good in the ring. Like, he knows what the fuck he's doing. It's gonna be a fun road to All Out. I'll say that. And I don't know how they get the title off of Moxley onto him, but like I feel like they have to hit the hot hand. AEW is so AEW does a lot of things formulaically. And I think that they get a lot of passes because they are who they are. Because they have some talent, they have a lot of talent. Because they're having some growing pains with being a new show. So I think that because they're a great alternative. So I think that the viewing public, give them a lot of passes, which we normally wouldn't do. But that being said, like, the one thing that AEW does that I think that WWE does not is they capitalize on the hot hand. AEW is able to take the temperature of the wrestling world and say, okay, this guy is getting over. Like, we need to capitalize on him.
Yes. Oh, WWE's terrible with that. Terrible.
And I mean, look at Keith. Look at Keith Lee, for example. Yeah, just an example. Look at Keith Lee. Like, yeah, I'm glad that he's a champion now, but like, dude, like, this should have been 6 months ago. Like, this whole business with him being a North American champion, this should have been him being the champion. So, I mean, like, yeah, it's great that it's happening, but it's still, and this is NXT. This is the good brand, and it's still about 4 months too late.
Yeah, and he's probably going to end up losing that title anyway. At this next NXT event. He's going to lose that title. He's going to be a excuse me. He's going to be a flash in the pan champion, which, in my opinion, Keith Lee should not have been. He should have been one of those guys that grabbed that belt and held it for the better part of a year and just dominated with it. But
Agreed.
Because, like you said, they were too late on pulling the trigger on this guy, he's going to hold that belt for a cup of coffee. And then who knows the next time he's going to be in the title hunt, let alone hold that belt again.
He'll get called up and then wasted on the main roster.
Yep, that's exactly, because, once again, just pontificating on what we were just talking about, the hot hand right now is Karrion Kross. The Karrion Kross has the entire wrestling world going, ooh, how did Impact miss on this guy? Like, and right now WWE, Triple H is like, Karrion Kross, eh? And I mean, to be fair, like they've had this trajectory planned for him for a long time. That's why I'm saying I have a hard time believing that he doesn't beat Keith Lee. But you know, but back to AEW, like they really know how to strike while the iron's hot, and that's what I'm saying with MJF. I don't know how they're gonna do it, because as much as I love Moxley, he doesn't need that belt. And
he needed that belt as much as Chris Jericho needed that belt.
Right.
I think that the belt needed Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley more than those guys needed the belt.
Agreed.
And I think that's kind of what that was. Like, Jericho held it first. He brought that belt legitimacy because he's Chris Jericho. Then it went to Jon Moxley. He had the belt, and it built more legitimacy to that belt because he's Jon Moxley, because of all the independent things that he's done, NXT, WWE. I don't think they needed the belt. The belt needed them.
And I think that AEW is in a better place with the heel champion. As weird as that sounds, because in general, you want the guy that has the belt to be your biggest babyface, you know? Your Hogan, your Hart, your Michaels, your Austin, your Rock, you know? But, I mean, Jericho as AEW champion was an absolute godsend for that company. Moxley has had a nice little reign. I'm not going to say anything diminutive about it. I don't think that there's anything that stands out to me that makes me go... I'll say this. I think that Moxley's best work for AEW has been in 2 unsanctioned matches. One against Joey Janela, one against Kenny Omega. I don't think that he's excelled with the belt, and I think a lot of it's bad timing with the COVID, with Renee coming down with COVID, like, you know, just in general.
There were some unfortunate circumstances.
There were. The same as fucking like Tetsuya Naito over in Japan, man. Like, that dude busted his ass. He was super hot. They gave him both belts, and then, like, he ended up defending them, I think, twice before losing them. It's like, yeah, it sucks. But, like, sometimes that's life, you know? And that's just how you fucking run with it. And I mean, I'm sure that Moxley won't be done. He's too fucking good. But I mean, Moxley's an attraction, man. You don't need Moxley to have that strap. People will watch a Jon Moxley match, whether it's against someone like the bad boy Joey Janela, where you know Moxley's gonna win, or Kenny Omega, where it's a fucking 50-50 split. You don't know who's gonna win.
And you also have the fact that, like, I feel like Moxley as a character, he doesn't care if he has that belt or not.
Mm-mm. Not even close.
Right. I agree with Poot.
My biggest problem with AEW right now is the fact that they have Moxley embroiled in this Brian Cage thing, which is a great feud. I'm loving it. I'm loving the inclusion of Ricky Starks. I think, and even Darby Allin. Like, I think that everything's meshing very well. But this whole challenge from MJF just seems like it's like tacked on. You know what I'm saying? Like, not... MJF has been working this angle since January. Like, hey, nobody's beat me. Hey, I keep winning. Hey, I haven't lost. Like, he still has not technically lost. He's been in a match where he wasn't the winner one time. Or no, twice, because I think him and Wardlow did win. So I think just the one time. So, like, he's been banging this drum, like, hey, I'm the overlooked guy. When am I going to get my shot? So he's basically the Chris Jericho, you know, the fucking Chris Jericho, like, 4, Goldberg 0. He's basically making this angle himself, MJF is. But, like, AEW just feel like they're shoehorning it in. I feel like this needs a bigger build-up, and maybe they're going to do something with it, but it just feels like juxtaposition against their current top card angle that they have going on. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, Poot?
Dude, honestly, like, because I admittedly haven't consistently watched, like, every single week, it's hard for me to gauge it because, frankly, I don't care if it's rushed or not. Anything that puts MJF in the at the forefront, that's what I want. Like, I think it would behoove them. I think it would serve the belt and AEW better. Honestly, to have the belt on MJF and just have him hold it and just thieve every win, whether it's him cheating, whether it's Wardlow interfering, whether it's doing every kind of chicanery to hang on to that belt. He should hold on to that belt for a year. He should get it off of Mox, hold that belt forever, and then whoever takes it off him will be the ultimate babyface.
I like that.
Can't
I like that.
Can't disagree more. It's a great way to finally build up Kenny Omega, you know?
Well, and you're honestly not wrong. Like, and hell, even have MJF get 1 or 2 over on Omega.
I think Omega's another one of those guys that really doesn't need the strap.
Who? Omega?
Kenny Omega.
I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. Like, we like Kenny Omega, but there are a lot of people who are kind of, there's an underbubbling of people saying that Kenny is, the shine's worn off him.
Really?
I just think it's because of this tag team stuff. Like, and I love Omega and Hangman as a team. I think that they're working together great, but like, I think that they should have pulled the trigger on Hangman turning on Omega at Revolution. Have the Bucks, because now, especially now since you have FTR in the picture, like, you have the Bucks beat Omega and Hangman at Revolution. You have a Hangman Omega feud carry you through the summer, maybe even culminate at All Out, and then you have the Bucks put their titles that they've had for 6 months on the line against FTR, who can finally come in and prove that they're the best team in the world. I don't know if COVID slowed that down, because I know the Hangman was gone for a long time with the COVID. Not with
he had
COVID,
it?
but with no. I'm sorry, I misphrased that.
Oh, okay.
With the pandemic going on, he was gone for a long time. He may have had it, and they may have just not told anybody. He may have been leery of it. I don't know, but there was a long time. He was gone basically from Revolution until the Stadium Series match, if I'm remembering correctly. Omega teamed with Nakazawa a couple times. He did some stuff with the Bucks and Matt Hardy. But yeah, no, he was gone for a long time. So, 12 years during the pandemic. So, I mean, I think that probably slowed the timetable a little bit, but I mean, I think that Kenny's just kind of lost in the shuffle, and he's a fucking champion. Like, how bad is it to say that he's lost in the shuffle holding a title? But that's, how I truly feel.
Look, I want to say one more thing about MJF here real quick before I end up forgetting it. I had 2 takeaways after watching that promo. And I think the saddest thing for me is those takeaways both involve WWE. The first one was, I wonder if there's anyone in WWE. We know it's not Vince, because he doesn't give a shit / watch other products. He's unplugged, he don't care. But I wonder if a Triple H or a Road Dogg or a Shawn Michaels or Have Mercy, even a Brother Love, ever tunes in and sees an MJF promo or an MJF match and goes, son of a bitch, I can't believe we missed this guy. Like, I can't believe we didn't snag him up for NXT. Young guy. Great on the mic. Great in the ring. Like, man, he would do wonders against talent like Adam Cole. I wonder if any of those guys look at him and go, crap, really missed it here. That was one takeaway. The second takeaway was, how lucky are we as the fans of the product and the people who actually consume this product? How lucky are we that he didn't wind up in WWE? Because I'm willing to bet it would have been another one of those situations where he was great in NXT. We loved him. He was amazing. He could do no wrong. He's the future of the business. Hits the main roster, flounders into obscurity. Now, I know that MJF is not, I know EC3 is not of the same caliber as MJF. But I think back to EC3 on this. Like, the guy had the look. He had everything. NXT was good. Main roster, what the hell happened here? I think we as fans are fortunate that MJF did not go to WWE. Because I really believe it would have been another one of those storybook, yes, he's NXT, woohoo, he's great, oh, he's amazing, main roster, oh, he's going to do amazing things. Just pooped.
Well,
I think he's fortunate. I think we're fortunate that he's in AEW and not WWE.
Yeah. Because WWE would have kind of given it See, here's the problem. I wonder if they would have given him the Bobby Roode treatment, because remember they were kind of doing something in the similar vein with Bobby Roode in NXT. Like,
yeah.
They were kind of doing that, and they, like, obviously that gimmick had its neck stepped on and was shot in the head whenever it came to the main roster, because he was just smiley guy who was glorious. And that's kind of the problem, is if MJF was in NXT and he stayed in NXT, I think he would do wonders, and I think he'd be amazing. But Vince would see, this new shiny toy, call him up to the main roster, and he would make him a sniveling heel. Like, that's the thing with MJF. He plays the sniveling card in matches, like, oh, no, don't back off, oh, hey, he begs off. But it's always because of a plan. It's never because he's actually a begging off shitty heel. Like, he always comes out looking strong, even in loss. And I think that would be horribly mismanaged on the main roster, and the gimmick would just be cartoonized. It would be a cartoon of what it is now. Yeah, I mean, like, it is a good thing he's in AEW. I'm just worried that WWE will come to him with all the money in the universe, and whenever his contract with AEW runs up, if he stands by his word, if he actually means what he said, when he said, I'm here, I'm the future of this business, I want to see AEW be better, I want to see it grow, and he's going to be in AEW for the long haul, good for him.
I don't know why everybody seems to think that Vince is going to throw more money at people than AEW does.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Tony Khan has like triple or quadruple, maybe even more than that, the worth of Vince McMahon. Like, AEW is not some like little upstart company. I think AEW is better off financially than WCW ever was with Ted Turner.
Well, they were, but
Tony Khan is a millionaire. He's got a lot. He's a fucking billionaire. He's got a lot of fucking money.
I know that, but it's also the draw of, and we've brought it up numerous times, the history of being being part of history with AEW is awesome. And who knows, years down the road, we could be going, wow, how could we ever have had any shadow of a doubt that this was going to be anything less than amazing? However, the draw of going, well, yeah, I've done this, I've done that. I was AEW champ, I was this champ, I was that champ, I've done this and wrestled this person, but I've never wrestled at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship or the Universal title. Now, see, you're saying that because it's contextual, but it's
the NWA. The NWA was around far longer than WWE when WWE crushed WCW, and WCW grew out of the NWA. So, and that was one of Vince's big things on the conference call this week. Well, we have 30 plus years of history on our side. History can go fuck itself.
History.
Because, shut up.
Oh.
What have you done for me lately?
English major.
This is a society where every 30 seconds people are changing the channel because they're scrolling on their phones, they're looking at something new every fucking 30 seconds. Don't care about Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. I care about Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 36 and what a disappointment it was.
Huh.
This is what have you done for me lately? What sticks in your mind? That's why AEW's ratings are on the rise and Raw's ratings are on the decline. Because they lean on that history. And Vince might have the most nicest thing to say about the history right now, but like I said, back in the day with the war, the original ratings war, the NWA had history on WWE, and how'd that go?
I'm well aware of this. But the thing is, if put yourself in the position of being an indie wrestler and or someone who's wrestling and making it their livelihood, I want you to stop and think about this. You have to have dreams of wrestling at WrestleMania for the big belt. It's just there. I'm not trying to belittle any other thing or saying that history can't change. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, dude, even us, at one point in your life, when you were younger, you had to have thought, well, if I became a wrestler, how cool would it be to wrestle at WrestleMania? And you'd have that goal. Like, so many wrestlers probably have that goal. Is it attainable now? Less than ever, just because of the way that WWE runs their business and runs their booking and stuff. But so there are new goals, being IWGP champion, being AEW champion, wrestling at All Out. You know what I mean? It's these kind of things that are they're growing, and maybe that will be someone else's, dream. Newer people coming up, they'll be their dream. But right now, I don't know. I think it's easy for us right now to say they're leaning on their history. Everything's going to fail. They're resting on their laurels too much. But that's the thing, though, is that it is there. It's still a factor.
So two things on that, real quick. If I can get a word in edgewise.
Bastard.
Oh, so two things on that. I think as of right now, there are enough veterans in AEW that if Vince McMahon dug deep down in his pockets and started throwing that green around to say, hey, MJF, Kenny Omega, name your AEW wrestler, whoever. I want you to come and wrestle here. As of now, I believe that there are enough veterans that have spent enough time in WWE to not necessarily convince these guys otherwise, but to say to them, hey, here's what it's like here. I want you to do what you want to do, but I want you to fully expect what you're getting yourself into. Where in AEW, you go out and you deliver a promo, and it's a killer. Because you went out and you did you. In WWE, you're going to go out there, and you're going to memorize a script, and you're going to deliver that script, word for word. If you go rogue, there's a 50-50 shot that it'll be well received, or you'll be punished. You don't have that in AEW. You have go out, deliver a promo, make it great. And if you do, you're off and running. I think there are enough veterans that will be able to tell these guys, if they're offered Vince McMahon deep pocket money, how green the grass truly is on the other side. I think people coming from different independent scenes, they don't have that. They don't have those guys that can sit them down and go, look, this is what it's going to be like. So what your schedule's going to be like. Here's what your expectations are going to be. Here's what's going to happen when you have to deliver a promo. Here are the goofy-ass matches that you're going to be in. And no matter how much you protest, or suggest otherwise, you're going to be in an eye for an eye match. Whether the announcers are going to be screaming, it's out, his eye is out. So that's one. Two, by the time some of these guys establish themselves and become the big deal, who knows how long that's going to take for some of them. There may not be a Vince McMahon at the helm. For whatever reason, whether it's dementia, overall McMahon insanity, or death, Vince McMahon might not be at the helm anymore. So WWE could potentially have a very different look. Working there could be a very different landscape than it is today. So those are, I guess, two things to really kind of factor into the whole, like, what if Vince McMahon offers them, or what if WWE, maybe not Vince, what if WWE offers them a crazy amount of money? Like, oh, do you think we're going to see them go? I think it depends on a multitude of factors.
Well, and so here, that's a salient argument, and I can't really refute that because you're 100% right. Things could change in the blink of an eye, literally. But that being said, I am going to harken back to Sting, someone who fucking made a career out of saying, well, I've never been to WWE and I've never done WrestleMania, so I'd like to do that one time, I think. And look how it worked out. He had a nice little match. He had a nice little match. It was a great nostalgia-filled match. We got to see the NWO versus DX, which we've always been waiting for. And I mean, it wasn't a bad match. But at the end of the day, who went over? The game.
Oh, yeah.
The WWE Star Wars.
There's no reason in my mind why Triple H should have gone over Sting.
Nope.
Like, you're bringing this guy in who has wrestled for all these other places. Oh, pardon me. You know, he was if you could take anybody, really, from the old WCW days that hadn't been... Casual Gaming Dad is now live. Go F yourself, Tom. If there was a WCW guy who was a super big deal that had never been to the WWE before, you immediately went to Sting. Like, even back in the day after WWE acquired WCW, I'm willing to bet that Sting was in the top 3 that fans wanted to see come over from WCW. Sure, Hulk Hogan, the NWO, like, yeah, you know, like, that would be neat to see them in WWE. But let's face it, Hogan, ancient as trash. Hall and Nash, been there, done that. Sting had never been in the WWE before. So he had to have been one of the hottest guys that fans would have really clamored to see show up. And when they finally got him, they feed him to the game.
Yep.
And there's a nice, big, fat, clean loss. Boom! Right in the middle of the ring. Right at WrestleMania. 1, 2, 3. Why? There's no earthly reason. No earthly reason. And then they put him in a match with Seth Rollins, and he damn near crippled him.
That should take care of anybody saying, well, I just want to go to WWE and compete in a big match at WrestleMania. Like, that should quell every wrestler should look at that and go, you know what? Maybe going to WrestleMania isn't that big of a deal.
Nope. You're going to get fed to a part-timer or a quote-unquote legend. You're going to get fed to a Triple H, to a Brock Lesnar, to a Goldberg. That's what's going to happen to you. You're not going to show up at WrestleMania and have your glorious moment where you stand on those turnbuckles and you raise that belt up and there's fireworks and explosions and confetti. That's a cute little pipe dream that you've got. Really is super cute. But it's not going to happen. You're going to get fed to a WWE homegrown, breastfed off of Vince McMahon's tit WWE guy. That's what you're going to get. You're not going to get your moment. You're going to get it.
Even if you become a homegrown, breastfed guy, even if you get over, even if you're the hottest actor in wrestling, there's still Bray Wyatt. There's still a chance that you're gonna lose to a guy who's making less money for the company, but it seems like it's a bigger deal.
Yeah, making less money for the company, getting paid more money than you, and working a hell of a lot less than you. That's what you're going to get there. And you don't get that in AEW. That's not happening. AEW is not bringing in part-timers, legends for one-off matches, feeding their up-and-coming talents to these guys. It's just not happening.
They're doing that they're kind of feeding that with the opposite direction in a positive manner with Cody. Like, he defended against Warhorse this week.
Yeah.
Oh,
Who's
God,
Warhorse?
of course, Beef. Like,
Listen,
but
you heard me fucking, a month ago, bitching about this stupid Cody Rhodes thing.
Beef,
Like,
what
Cody
did I
Rhodes brings
tell?
up this
What did I say on the other
this hard luck
podcast?
fucking indie guy.
It's fucking going
You
somewhere.
know who's gonna win. You know who's gonna win. It's gonna be Matt fucking Cardona. I guarantee you it's gonna be Zack Ryder. Last night shows me.
I was gonna try and bring this to a positive thing and say, hey, let's talk about Matt Cardona debuting on AEW, but apparently Beef's got a fucking needle stuck in his craw about it.
Well, I mean, what?
Crawdaddy.
So you're gonna say the word positive, and you talk about Warhorse, who had a great debut to a national audience, great gimmick, great character, great look, great match, and then in the aftermath, shoves Cody out of the line of fire to take the heat from the Dark Order, only to get shown up by the fucking Rough Rider himself, Matt Cardona, fucking Strong Island Iced Tea.
Have you ever heard of Warhorse before, Beef?
Only to have those fleeting 20 seconds of, hey, that's Zack Ryder, we gotta get to a break. Like, that segment made no sense to me whatsoever.
Dude, okay.
Oh, dear.
Look.
Oh my.
It was ham-fisted. I'm going to give that to you, but here's the thing. Here's the thing what this Here's what this did. So, yeah. Was Cody going to beat Warhorse? Yes. How many pins were there where it was like you're thinking, okay, Cody's going to beat this guy handily? There were a couple pins where you're like, whoa. Like, there was that little bit of fear where you're like, really? Like, that little bit of jump fear. And the fact that can cause, or they can make that happen, I think speaks volumes for everyone involved. And here's the other thing that it does that's positive. It now allows, it was probably a one-off appearance for Warhorse. But you know what that does now? Him being out on the indie scenes, out there, on the road, working, doing all these things. Now, he's been on AEW TV. He can ask for more money, he'll get more bookings, and he'll start getting better. Then down the road,
I bet he gets signed. I bet you gets signed by AEW.
But he might. If he gets signed, then he gets signed, and that's fine. Now he has somewhere theoretically consistent work, or somewhat consistent work. Like, I'm just saying, like, think of the positives here for some of the people that are working these matches.
Listen, man, I am fucking Captain Positive when it comes to AEW. I've said it before that I, more than anybody, am willing to give them a pass on something that's fucking hokey and maybe a little bit like archaic or dated, in saying, you know what, it's AEW. That being said, man, we have to be able to recognize when the company doesn't do something good. Like, we cannot just praise them, and sit here and run down WWE for every terrible thing that they do. I think, to be fair, we have to be unbiased and realize that whenever something's not going, when something's not going well, we have to be able to spell that out. And to me, I think Cody's TNT title reign is longer than it should be. We'll see, and you know what, Poot? You're right. We could see something great come out of this. Or we could see WWE reject, and I hate using that word about some of these guys, but we could see somebody, an ex-WWE hand, take the belt. A la Matt Cardona.
So for frick's sake, with Cody Rhodes holding on to this title for so long and handily beating these guys that seem to come out and challenge for this TNT title, I know you're not a fan of that, but is it going to produce a bigger payoff when he finally loses it? If he is consistently winning,
beating anybody. That's the thing. He's not handily beating.
Okay. So
every match is taking him to his limit, which makes for great television. But it's also like, man, like these guys are ham and eggers, more or less, that are indie guys. Now they may be bigger name indie guys, like Brian Pillman, like Ricky Starks, like Warhorse. I understand that, and I'm not besmirching any of their careers.
William Regal.
But
is it not better though for him to take him to the limit and make them look good? Is that a bad thing? Should he be handily defeating these guys, being like, done, got it, another one in the belt, see ya, kid?
So, two schools of thought on that. One, because if you're a champion of a major promotion, and I don't care what you say, AEW is a major promotion now.
Sure, well, I don't think anyone's going to argue that.
So you're the mid-card champion of a major promotion. These guys don't have contracts. Thus, unless you have the best scouting system in the world that are going out and finding the diamond in the rough every single week. Oh, look, another unbelievable independent talent that nobody's picked up. Oh, look, another unbelievable talent that nobody's picked up. Oh, look, another, and yes, it makes for great TV for him to have a guy like Mark Quinn take him to the limit. Ricky Starks, Eddie Kingston, career guys, indie guys, legacy guys. It makes for great TV. But at the same time, I don't think you're doing the title any favors. I don't know. To me, I think Poot's right. At the end of the day, it matters where it goes. I think we're starting to see the whole cracks in Cody's game where he gets overconfident and Arn gets in his face and he's like, "Listen, man, you need to pull your shit together." So I need that. I need that to be his Achilles heel. Like when he gets up and he starts doing these push-ups, I want someone to come and kick him in the head, knock his ass out. Or when he does his little cocky pin, I want someone to flip him over, crucifix him, and get the 1, 2, 3. I need that to be the reason why he loses.
So
or I need a
not going to be a
heel turn from him.
Okay, so you're not going to be excited if we get a match between him and Matt Cardona, and Matt Cardona takes him to his limit and squeaks it out with a clean pin. Boom! There's a finisher. There's the freaking Twitter lariat, or the Facebox Buster. Nope, not going to be happy with that. You want to see some sort of Cody's getting too cocky. Cody's getting too cocky. Wham! That cockiness bit him in the ass, and that's why he lost the title.
I think the who is important too. Poot and I are the biggest fucking Zack Ryder fans probably in the world. Maybe, I don't know.
Woo.
When he was the Long Island Iced Tea, that was him, man. We were like, man, this guy's gonna hit the fucking rails and he's gonna be great. And now he's super swole. Great, good look, good gimmick. I think everything is going
From
his way.
Fucking Strong Island.
I don't think that he needs to have that fucking TNT title. I don't think fucking Cody needed the title, to be honest with you. I
agree with the Cody thing, yeah.
From the get-go, I think that Archer should have won the title and should have just been destroying people every week on TV. Because for as much as Cody's little 15-minute like handshake head pat matches are going, I think you build up just as much dynamic momentum with having Archer come out and just wreck fools. Fucking 2-3 minutes, TNT champion comes out, dominates somebody, and then someone finally gets him. Be it like Luchasaurus, be it fucking Jungle Boy. Somebody finally has the answer to Lance Archer, and they finally take that title off of him is a bigger deal than somebody finally eking out that win over Cody. Because we've seen 5 or 6 weeks in a row now where somebody's almost beaten Cody and been right there until the end. Like, you know, I think that you would get more mileage out of the initial reign with Archer as a heel guy. And again, I get it. You know, no love lost for Cody. I think Cody's an incredible talent, a great worker, one of the best that AEW has. I just don't think. I think Cody's above it, and I think that he knows he's above it. I think the world knows he's above it, and I think that that's why he keeps winning, because now you're written into a corner. If Cody is so much better than this title, how does he lose it?
So are you going to be disappointed / pissed off if Matt Cardona's the one that takes that title off of him?
I'll be disappointed, yeah. Because I think that any of those other challengers, Mark Quinn, Ricky Starks, I think Ricky Starks would have made a great choice, especially now that he's in with the fucking Taz group. I think he would have been a great choice.
Dude, Ricky Starks, whenever I saw him the first time, I was just like, I want to punch him.
Oh.
But I think that fits his whole shtick.
I love it because Brittany keeps calling him Ricky Spanish, and that's just, you know, Ricky Spanish. But you know, I think that Eddie Kingston would have been a better choice. I think that Warhorse would have been a better choice. Like, honestly, over Matt Cardona, I think that any of those guys should have been the guy who beat it. I really think that Cody needs to be beaten by a good heel. But you know, and speaking of things that AEW isn't doing well, vis-a-vis fucking Cameron. I don't know if you guys remember Cameron. You guys remember Cameron, the Funkadactyl?
Yup.
She was the cute one.
Her claim to fame being that she tried to pin somebody while they were on their stomach.
Whoops.
Yeah, so...
I don't remember that, but whoops.
Yeah, so... You know, sometimes...
So she's there now.
Yeah, so sometimes... And you know what? She may have spent the last fucking 10 years busting her ass to be a way better wrestler. I don't know. I could be just fucking basing it off of what I know her from 10 years ago. But, you know, I'm not going to say the AEW's women's division is struggling, because I don't think it is. I don't think it's as healthy as the NXT women's division. And obviously those two are going to draw comparisons every single time because they're on the same night, you know? So there's no way around it. Moreover, last night while watching the opening match of the NXT, which was
of the
Io
NXT.
Shirai,
The NXT.
Which was Io Shirai and Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai and Mrs. Wrestling, Candice LeRae. Like, watching that match, I was like, man, the NXT women's division has really fallen from grace. Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley notwithstanding, like, it's a shell of what it used to be 2 years ago, and it's like a fucking ghost of what it used to be fucking 5 years ago. So,
wow.
Like, to say
Strong
that
words.
I believe it. To say that AEW doesn't meet that, which doesn't meet the history of NXT, says a lot about it. But I mean, you know, this I think is where. So God bless AEW, because I saw an article today that said that during the pandemic, AEW is bringing in like 60 independent wrestlers for gigs, gig work, crowd work, paying them to be on set, paying them to wrestle, and have brought so many in for contracts, like Ricky Starks. Like, so during the time whenever these independent wrestlers are really struggling, AEW's bringing them in for work. Great, but I see what's happening with Moxley, which, the dude is fire. I'm not going to gripe about Moxley. But Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, Matt Cardona, Vicky Guerrero, and now Cameron. Like, there's a trend, is all I'm saying. And whenever I look at this stuff, I really look hard at where Impact began to fail. Really fail. And it was whenever they started taking these WWE guys who didn't quite cut the mustard in WWE and give them front seats in the front of the fucking limos. So, not for nothing, just, something to keep your eye on.
I can see your point on that a little bit, but I guess my question on the flip side is, yeah, there are ex-WWE guys that didn't cut the mustard in WWE, but
or just wanted to get the fuck out. I will say that
yes.
there is a portion of this, like Brody Lee, Moxley, the Revival, guys who are like, nope, we're done, we're gone.
Right. So it's either guys that didn't cut the mustard or guys that wanted out. So I see your point about the comparison between, where TNA, Impact, whatever they're called, started to falter because they brought in all these ex-WWE guys. I have a hard time comparing some guys like Brody Lee and, hell, even Zack Ryder to Impact bringing in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Ric Flair. Not to besmirch the good name of Ric Flair, but he was long past his prime when he showed up in TNA. I don't know what business he had being there. Honestly, I can only imagine it's because of the payday. But, like, Hogan, okay, come on. Hogan was past his prime when he came back into the WWE as part of the NWO. He was past his prime. So, I don't directly see the comparison between young guys like Brody Lee, Zack Ryder, and the geriatrics that Impact brought in. And also on that same token is maybe AEW sees some things in these young guys that didn't get over in WWE for one reason or another. Maybe AEW sees something in them and goes, okay, Zack Ryder, just using him as an example. That guy 110% got over on his own with zero help from WWE, zero help from the Machine, and even I would say the Machine at times trying to keep him down.
Bert Kreischer?
Nope. He managed to get over. Like, he did it on his own. So if you can get a company behind a guy who can get over on his own, is there not money to be made there? Yeah, he's a guy that didn't make it in WWE, but he's also not a guy that a lot of fans went, who cares about? Like, who cares about him? He had a big following. WWE never capitalized on it. They did at one WrestleMania for a cup of coffee, and then they were like, okay, well, we got our paid out of this guy. Boom, he's out.
The thing with Matt Cardona is he as like a person is just super fucking likable. Like, he is just a likable dude. Like, he's apparently like one of the most affable people in the world. He just loves wrestling. He's like a big kid. You know what I mean? Like, he just loves what he does, and he loves, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like that's the thing is like they see in the ecosystem of if you get yourself over in WWE, like Matt, and I think I mentioned this on a podcast before. Cardona talked about the fact that like after he got himself over at like, you know, like they would say at the Raw after WrestleMania, they'd always have the, you know, all hands on deck, grab the brass ring. This is your time. It's a new year, new stories, blah, blah, blah. They would do that. The year that he got over and he won that belt and everything, the next night on Raw, they didn't have that meeting. Like, it's a lie. Like, he's like, he got himself over naturally on his own terms with the fans, and he did it. And because it was out of the control of WWE, they didn't like it. And so it's kind of one of those things that it's like, I think you're saying, like, you know what, like the idea is like, oh, it's Matt Cardona, who cares? Like, I've seen a bunch of memes of people who have been like, oh, Matt Cardona debuted. Who cares? You know what I mean? But like, AEW is seeing the potential in this guy and going, he did something in an ecosystem that prevents people from doing that. Just imagine if we let him have the reins and actually gave him, you know, the time of day and actually put him on TV and actually put him in these positions. Just imagine what he could do.
Yep. Agreed. 110% agreed. Now, Matt Hardy, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, what's he been doing?
Whole bunch of nothing.
Beef? So
so he's actually all over the place. Broken Matt has been helping the Elite. Like Matt Hardy Boy Matt has been mentoring the Private Party.
Oh, so they two different personas now?
He has like 5.
Good.
Money,
That's weird.
Money Matt. I don't know. He hasn't been around a while. You know, and then there's the one that's feuding with Sammy Guevara. He showed up last night to knock Guevara off of a turnbuckle and, you know, reignite the feud that he's having with him.
He's back. Sammy Guevara's back.
Guevara, yeah. He came back last week, yep.
Okay, good. Good for him.
So, I mean, like,
I think Matt Hardy is trying to do Chris Jericho with just like throwing spaghetti at the wall. I feel like I'm shitting on Matt Hardy here, but
I don't know about that.
I'm not trying to shit on Matt Hardy, but it's like, okay, so as a fan, I'm looking at Matt Hardy and I'm going, okay, Matt Hardy, Hardy Boy, that's WWE. You know, of course he was a star in WWE. Hardy Boy, Matt Hardy, you know. Yes, good. He went to Impact and he reinvented himself as this broken character. Great. Worked out really well in Impact. Really nailed it with the fans. Everybody loved it. Went to WWE, went back to WWE, and he was this hybrid Hardy Boy, broken character. You know, still had this frizzy, streaky hair, but he dressed like Matt Hardy, Hardy Boy. But he still did the delete thing. So, like, what's happening here? And then he goes to this Woken character, which WWE tried to reinvent the broken. Didn't work. He shows up in AEW, and now he's trying to do a whole bunch of different things. Like, he's trying to be like the Faces of Foley, almost, where he has all these different personas. And I don't know. I think it would serve Matt Hardy better if he went to AEW and was like, okay, fresh start. I'm not in WWE. I'm not in Impact. I'm somewhere I never was before. Let's do something different. Let's do a Matt Hardy that no one has seen before. You know, like, this is your chance to reinvent yourself and to start over fresh at a company where you're not going to be held down by a Vince McMahon. Like, now's the time to start over and reinvent yourself and do something fresh. But
I
he
don't
didn't
think
do
there was
that.
a problem with him using the broken character though, because I don't think the majority of the audience never really saw the broken character. In Impact and Ring of Honor and around the world, like no one, like he grew a cult following, and that's why they brought him back. But yeah, I mean, like to the masses, they didn't fucking know what Broken Matt Hardy was until WWE started doing the shtick with the Woken shit. So I got no problem. I got no problem with them using Broken Matt Hardy in AEW.
I'm gonna disagree on just one stance on that, and I could be way far off, and that's fine. I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. But when he and Jeff came back as a surprise at that WrestleMania, the crowd wasn't chanting Hardy Boys. They weren't chanting Team Extreme. They weren't chanting any of that. They were chanting Delete. They did a pan to the crowd, and the crowd was doing the Delete sign.
I agree.
I'm willing to bet that there's a lot.
WrestleMania is the smarkiest show of the year, bro. Because who else is gonna pay fucking $200 a ticket to sit in a big, stupid fucking football stadium to probably watch the action on the Tron? People like you and me and Poot who would be like, you know what? I was there the day that Taker lost to Lesnar. I was there the day that Hogan and Cena and The Rock all stood in the ring. I was there the day that Matt Hardy came back and we got to chant Delete. Like,
okay, so that's fine. That's a smarky crowd.
I think.
Sure, that's a smarky crowd. But for the crowd, for the fans that don't go to those WrestleManias, that stay at home and watch it on the television, if you didn't know what was up with the Delete chant, seeing that amount of people doing the Delete sign, chanting Delete, seeing Matt Hardy get in the ring and pointing to all those teams going, yeah, Delete! I struggle to imagine even the most casual fans who will watch WWE for the Big Four. And they saw that at WrestleMania and they went, huh, everyone's chanting Delete. Wonder what that's about. Nah, who cares? Like, I'll figure it out eventually. For those casual fans, I'm willing to bet that they went, okay, what's this about? Well, I'm going to do some YouTube and a Matt Hardy. I'm going to YouTube Matt Hardy Delete. And I'm going to see what's on there. And there's plenty of stuff on there. With the technology the way that it is now, I don't see an excuse for someone going, oh, they're saying Delete when Matt Hardy's here. That's weird. Huh, I don't know what that's about. I guess I'll never know. And having to wait until they did some version of the Woken gimmick.
I just love I guess I'll never know.
Yeah, like, I'm just going to Eeyore this out the door. Like, oh, well, guess I don't understand wrestling today. I bet they're going to YouTube and they're typing in Matt Hardy Delete, and they're seeing all the videos from Impact where he's doing his Delete thing, and they figured it out. So smarky fans in the crowd aside, the people that watch just for the Big Four are going to go, huh, that's interesting. Let's see what's going on here. So I don't know. I guess I don't believe in that excuse to say like, well, many people probably didn't realize or didn't know what the whole Delete was about. So now they're getting to see it in AEW and going, oh, isn't that neat?
That shit was just very funny to me.
I don't think so.
Guess I don't understand wrestling today.
Yeah, Josh, I'm just going to go Jim Cornette myself, and
motherfucker.
And Smoky Mountain, just
Smoky
Midnight
Mountain.
Express, boogie bagoo, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I think that he's rehashing old gimmicks, and he missed a prime opportunity to pull a Chris Jericho and completely reinvent yourself. Or even if he would have stuck with the broken gimmick and been like, this is who I am. I'm in AEW. I'm Broken Matt Hardy. Let's get broken. Let's break it. Break it out. Break it down.
Let's get broken.
Yeah, but that didn't
But I
happen
think-
because now he's
So,
all over the place with all these different gimmicks.
so I think you're missing the
No.
point of the broken
No.
character. There, corny. I think that you are the idea of the broken character is that it is in fact like a rift of Matt Hardy. That like Matt Hardy got to a point where he just like fucking lost it. And like this inner version of Matt Hardy was the result. So like Matt Hardy is always Matt Hardy. But sometimes he's broken Matt Hardy. The like other ones, okay. I think we could probably do without Money Matt. I think we could probably do without like the Hardy Boy guy. Like, I get what he's trying to do, and I don't know if it's all AEW. Like, I don't know if it's all Matt Hardy, or if it's sometimes AEW brass that's like, hey man, we don't have anything for Broken Matt Hardy this week. What do you say about, helping put over Private Party? Or like, this, that. I wonder if it's not the same in AEW as it is in WWE, where someone just pitches an idea and he's like, hey man, why not? It'll get me TV time.
Well, that very well could be. Sure.
I think at the end of the day, there are guys and gals, but mostly guys, because there aren't a lot of guys who have come from WWE yet, who are on the AEW roster. There are a handful of them that I go, I can't wait to see them with the title. Moxley was one of them. Have not been disappointed. Brody Lee is another one that I think I could really have a good top run.
Yes, they do.
They need to fix that character.
So I really like what they're doing with the Dark Order. Even though they're basically kind of like the, generic villain number 5.
Well, I mean, literally they have that.
With that's actually his name, right? 5 or is it 7? I don't even remember anymore. But
this isn't Slipknot beef.
7 was Goldust's character in WCW.
I think that his name might be 7 though. Anyway, but I liked what happened last night where Brody Lee took Colt Cabana and he like pushed him into the back, and then like came out and gave Uno and
Grayson
the what for. Like, I like that. I like that, like, glad-handed approach on one hand, and then, like, abusive as fuck on the next. Like, I think that that's a good place for the character to go. I think they just need to stop riffing on Vince McMahon and just let the character grow organically.
And they also got to get rid of...
Stop trying to get your pokes in it, Vince.
They got to get rid of that suit.
You did that. That was fun. Haha, we're poking at Vinnie Mac. But, make this character something different than Mr. Brody Lee. Yeah.
I agree.
They're going good places with it, and there are standouts in the AEW Women's Division. Sheeta, obviously, Nyla Rose. I think I can't sing her praises enough. There's a girl who wrestles on Dynamite and has been on Dark rather, and has been on Dynamite a couple times. I think her name is like Abaddon or whatever.
Abaddon.
A very
Abaddon
Rosemary-esque gimmick, but like,
well, with a name like Abaddon, it should be.
With it's a lot more horror feel. I saw a clip where someone like dropped her on her neck or whatever, and like she sat up and like cracked her neck to the side, and then like did like the gator roll and looked at her opponent. Like, I thought that, like, she is going to be, I think, a really great player. I think it hurts that Britt's out, but having her be a constant presence on Dynamite is wonderful.
Do you okay, just fun fact, and not trying to break your gate beef, but do you know what Abaddon is?
No.
Abaddon, that name is like, it's like the Greek equivalent of like Apollyon, which I'm looking at this just to make sure I don't seem stupid. It's basically in the New Testament book of Revelations, Abaddon is like the king of the army of locusts. Like Abaddon is like the angel of the abyss.
Nice, that fits.
There you go.
She's a lot of fun. She does not look like your typical women's wrestler would. And that's her appeal, man. So I mean, good things are coming. It's just, I think that sometimes AEW gets in their way a little bit, and they slow themselves down. I think that sometimes, to me, it seems like they feel like everything needs to be a slow burn, and that there are some things that just can't happen. Sometimes I think that they just need to let things happen. Like the TNT title, for example. I think it needs to be lost and won on Dynamite sometimes. It's a TV title, that's what it's there for. Like, you have a TV mid-card title so that it can be defended, lost, and won on your weekly TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, it's called the TNT title.
Right.
So let's have it defended and, change hands on TNT. Come on.
Right. Cody's been doing a good job of it, and I'm sure that once Cody loses it, it'll really start to pick up some speed. But I don't know, man. I just speaking of something that again, NXT, we give a lot of credence to and say, oh, it's so great. But again, so currently the North American title is being held up. It's been vacated. Keith Lee, gave it up with the idea of having new competition, giving a chance to guys, I believe is the way he said it. Last week, it was, and so they have 5 triple threat matches to determine the 5 people that are going to NXT 30 to participate in the ladder match. We talked about a little bit last week with Ozilla winning over Roddy Strong and Johnny Gargano. We're like, okay, weird, but hey, it's a thing. Okay, great. Thick boys got to represent. Now, last night, I'm not making, this is all things he's called himself. So, last night, in the triple threat match, the main event, was Dexter Lumis, Timothy Thatcher, and Finn Balor. 3 guys who I think that no matter how you sliced it, could have gone and been representative in that match, and I would have had little problem with it. I feel like I was pulling extra hard for Balor to win. Because I want Balor to... Yeah, because I want Balor to be the guy who goes and gets the title and gets, the NXT Triple Crown or whatever they're calling it. But Dexter Lumis won. And it really has me thinking if AEW doesn't have NXT shook a little bit. And here's what I'm talking about. We talked about the young star power of AEW. How in 3-4 years, teams like Private Party are going to be hitting their fucking stride. Guys like Jungle Boy and MJF are going to be, looking great. And NXT has done a great job of rating the indies to bring in guys that are currently the indie, the people that people love in the indies, to bring them over and basically change nothing with them. Say, here you go. Here's this character that you already know from fucking Ring of Honor, PWG, wherever. Excuse me.
Oh, COVID.
Nope, listener pill. But here's the downside of that. When you do that, you bring in these people who already who are basically in the twilight of their career. They're at the apex of their career. So now, I think that there is a resonant push, no pun intended, to bring in some of these young guys who haven't had an established career yet and to start making new stars in the NXT brand. I think you're seeing that with this tournament, well, not tournament, but this opportunity in particular. And it wouldn't surprise me if, as the matches go, like, the people who win the matches are like the underdogs in each one of them. Initially, I was very upset whenever Balor didn't win last night. I would have even rather seen Thatcher in there than Loomis, but I see what they're doing, and I don't hate it.
I understand your desire to see Finn Balor because that would make him the Triple Crown champion. But when I think of Finn Balor winning the North American title, I think of, maybe it's not a fair comparison, but this is just where my mind goes. My mind goes to Ric Flair and his last run with WWE, winning the Intercontinental title. Or Jericho in WWE winning the United States title. Okay, I feel like a guy like Finn Balor, having been NXT champion, having been the first Universal champion. Was he WWE champion?
No.
Okay. But still, NXT champion, first ever Universal champion. Now he's going to go back to NXT, and he's going to win the mid-card belt there. I don't see the logic in that when you could put it on a younger, maybe not in age, but in WWE career, younger, up-and-coming guy. Like, I feel like that's almost a waste to put it on Finn Balor when you could put it on one of these guys who haven't held a big singles title in NXT and, you know, build them up and bring them up and groom them to be on the path to an NXT champion.
I think to support your point a little bit is having Balor win that, yeah, it would set history as he's the first Triple Crown. However, then what is there for Balor to do?
Yeah, like he's won the NXT title. He's won the North American title.
Yep.
He's won the big Universal belt.
Well, he was the first one for less than 24 hours, but we're ignoring that.
Well, I think that's a WWE my bad. Like, yeah, he got hurt in the match. When he came back, he should have been right back in that title picture. Like, hey, nobody beat me. I got hurt. No one beat me for this title. I have a legitimate claim to become number one contender.
Yep.
And they should have put the belt back. They should have put the belt right back on him, because in my view, if you're going to go with this guy and say, "Yep, this is the dude. We want to make him the first ever Universal Champion, and he's going to have the belt," to then go to, like, well, you got hurt. Sorry, kid. Bottom of the barrel. Like, you obviously saw something in him. Why not put him back in that title picture? They didn't do that. Why, I don't know.
It's WWE. Really?
Okay.
There's
right.
your reason.
My bad. You make a very good point. I apologize. But I don't know. Someone who's had the career that Finn Balor has had and the caliber of Finn Balor, I feel like that type of belt is beneath him at this point. I never understood the mindset of this guy. You take this wrestler here. He's going to work his way up. He's going to have the big belt. He loses the big belt. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to go to a mid-card belt. Like, I never understood that. Like, you never said that didn't happen with the big guys. That never happened with. Like, Bret Hart. When he won the WWE Championship, he didn't go back and start wrestling for the European title. He didn't go back and start wrestling for the Intercontinental title. No. He made it to the WWE Championship, and he If he lost the belt, next time he wrestled for a belt, it was for the WWE Championship. Singles belt. Same with Shawn Michaels. Same with Stone Cold. Same with The Rock. Like, those guys didn't go to the top, lose that top belt, and go, okay, well, let's go for the European title. Let's go for the United States title. Let's go for the Intercontinental title. No. The next time they were in line for a title picture, it was the WWE title. Like, right back in it. Once you reach the top, you should be vying for that top belt. You shouldn't be going, okay, I made it to the top. I made it to the precipice. I'm here. Well, I lost this belt. Start over. Push the reset button. You're creating a new character. And we're going to start from scratch. Like,
I think that every belt matters, though. Like, you know, I hear what you're saying.
Hashtag all belts matter.
And I don't know. I feel like...
I think all belts... Oh, boy. Lord. Yes, I think all belts are important. If you're going to have that mindset all around. I feel like WWE is erratic when it comes to that mindset. Like, I don't think they have that mindset of all belts are important.
I agree.
Like, too many times have they hot potatoed a lower title. Too many times has it gone to such random, like, it's to such a random extent where it's like, okay, it's on this guy, now it's on that guy, now it's on this guy. Like, okay, now it's on, you know, mid-carder, now it's on Jericho. Mid-carder, now it's on Flair. Hell, even back whenever you had, and this is one guy that, you know, where it happened, you know, you have Triple H, WWE champion. He's in that streak. Now all of a sudden, he wins the Intercontinental title again. When, you know, him and Stone Cold had the two-man power trip. Like, I get it. Yeah, two-man power trip. Like, okay, that angle kind of makes sense to me. Because they held the tag team titles, they had the WWE title, they had the Intercontinental title. They had the belts. They were the two-man power trip. That storyline made sense to me. But when you have guys get to the top and then go back down and hot potato these mid-card titles around, it doesn't seem like there's any importance to them at that point. And if all titles are going to be important, they need to be made to look like they're important. And I don't see that in the WWE.
So I think what shocks me more is the fact that you are taking guys who have quality matches behind them. They fucking bleed great matches. Balor, Thatcher, Gargano, Roddy Strong. 4 guys who I don't think could put on a bad match if they tried. And as opposed to going with that, you're relying on people who don't have that track record on your biggest show. You know, it's the 30th TakeOver event. It's before SummerSlam, which is always going to be your biggest takeover. You know, if you believe the reports, this could be, you know, this takeover could take place somewhere outside of the Performance Center or outside of the NXT arena. This could be somewhere unique. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're telling me that you're trusting Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, this fucking rugby guy from the UK who's coming over, you know, and whoever the fuck else, you know, new guy number 4 and new guy number 5, you know, fucking Isaiah Swerve Scott and who the fuck ever. Like, if you're telling me that you're gonna trust a ladder match, which has the potential to be a show stealer, in the hands of 5 unproven guys, I don't know.
What better way to have them prove themselves?
Or what better way to take a big old dookie on the biggest show of the year? Like, sometimes it is possible to outbook yourself.
Now, so what do you mean by unproven guys?
Like, guys who have not put on great matches. Guys who have had an NXT career and have not put on, great matches. They've had good matches, yeah, sure, but nothing great stand out. Last night, Roddy Strong and Johnny Gargano had probably the best match on NXT TV this year. It was outstanding, and that's what I'm saying. Like guys like that. I think that next week, even though they're debuting this fucking rugby footballer from the UK, I think that Damian Priest is going to win the match next week, and he's probably going to be the guy that they put the title on, because ever since his match with Finn Balor, everybody's pretty high on him. Good for him. I'm fine with that. But it's just it's a little shocking to me. That's all I'm saying.
So, I just have a question though. When WWE took 3 teams, like Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, and put them in that ladder match / TLC match for those titles, first time that ever happened. Were all 3 of those teams? Were all those guys proven guys? I mean, yeah, they had some good matches before then. They were tag teams. But that match stood out to me as the first time those 3 teams had a knockdown, drag-out, standing ovation, great match. I would say that they took those 3 teams, talented guys, but in WWE, what did they really do before that? Yeah, the Hardys were in the Brood. Yeah, Edge and Christian were in the Brood. Yeah, the Dudley Boys came from ECW. But were they proven guys? Were they proven teams? Were those the guys you were like, yep, this is it? These teams? Yep. Or was it that match that elevated them and took them from the, yes, they're good, to, wow, they're great?
I mean, but there was a lead up, though. You remember the Terry Invitational Tournament? Like, the thing that put the Hardys and the Edge of Christmas on the map was the first ever, as far as I can remember, the tag team ladder match, where there was just a sack of money hanging from a rope, and you had to ascend the ladder and grab the sack of money, and you, of course, got Terry Runnels' managerial skills, which lasted for a cup of coffee. But it spelled tit, haha. Like that, like they worked their way up
golden
in those matches, so like there was at least some build up. These guys, I don't know.
Is this tournament not the build up though?
It just seems out of left field. That's all I'm saying, is that like Loomis has had a nice little career. They've been protecting him nicely. But nothing that makes me go, oh, this guy should be in a mid-card title match. Same with Bronson Reed. In fact, Bronson Reed's probably lost more than he's won. Most recently, being Karrion Kross's victim, not once but twice.
But the key thing that you said right there is a mid-card title. Shouldn't the mid-card titles be for guys who aren't established as proven talents, to say, okay, these are mid-card guys, they've had mid-card matches, now they're going for a mid-card title?
Not when you have names attached to it like Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Johnny Gargano, and Keith Lee, and Roderick Strong. But those guys aren't mid-card guys. Those guys are top-card guys. Or mid to top guys. Like, those are the guys that are going to be going for the big belt. Those are the guys that are going to be going for the NXT championship. Like, Adam Cole, the longest reigning NXT champion. How much sense would that make for him to go, okay, I'm coming off of the heels of being the longest reigning NXT champion. I'm Adam Cole, baby. And now, I'm gonna fight for this mid-card title. That's not. I disagree, because whenever there's only so much stake to go around, you have to sometimes accept that you're not always going to get the biggest piece of steak. So sometimes you want to be the guy that at least walks out with steak. You know, Johnny Gargano is a perfect example. He went from main eventing with Ciampa to dropping down with the North American title, and it worked. Like, he was and that's the, you know, the one example I'll throw up, Ransom, is that Gargano was a main eventer, and then he dropped down and won the North American title after he was in the main event, and it worked perfectly. You know, these things do happen. John Cena, Daniel Bryan, there are examples of people who have dropped down and done the mid-card thing, and it's worked out perfectly. So it can work if done well. That's, you know, I don't know.
That's the asterisk you have to always look at in WWE.
Well, it's also
it's done well. How many times have we talked about upcoming pay-per-views and said, if this pay-per-view is done right, this could be the best card. Like, looking at the card, it's a great card. If they do this pay-per-view right, this could be the best pay-per-view of the year. And how many times do you come out on the other end going, boy, we really set ourselves up right here. We really set ourselves up. Our expectations were high, and it flopped, and it disappointed. I would say more times do you get disappointment with that asterisk of if they do it right. You wind up being disappointed more times than you're pleasantly pleased. So my argument is if you're using that asterisk there saying, you know, they put these, you know, who were once top guys in for this mid-card title and they do it right, it could really work. I feel like there's more setup for failure there than if you say, okay, we've got these 5 mid-card guys who have never been on top. One of these mid-card guys is going to come out as the new North American champion. I feel like there's less setup for disappointment there than if there were either all top guys at one point vying for this title or a few top guys who had been top guys at one point now vying for this title with a smattering of have only ever been mid-card guys. I feel like there's more room for failure when you do that.
So you're saying it adds legitimacy to the belt.
And that's what I was saying about the main eventer is, like, you know, the main eventer is the top tier guys. I think being in the match would do that. I see Ransom's point. I really do. And again, I'm not trying to be, you know, argumentative for argumentative's sake. I'm just saying that it's coming out of left field, and to me, like, for WrestleMania, for TakeOver 30, I would think that they would want to put on, like, the best show they could, you know, with guys like Gargano and Balor and, you know, Thatcher and, you know, all these big names that they have that could really put on a stellar match. And who knows, they may have plans for all those guys too. I don't know. But I just, you know, to me, whenever I saw that they were doing this card, I'm like, oh man, they're going to have a great mid-card title match. You know, and it may be that. I don't know. But, you know, to me, you know, expectations are and were that, you know, that they bring some big names down for it. And again, they still may, because we know WWE, they could definitely, you know, pull it out of their ass and be like, oh, well, it's a last chance match, you know, and put some big names in there. Who knows? But I'm just saying I'm more shocked than anything right now. That's all.
I can get you. I hear you. I do. Yeah. I'm definitely going to be interested to see come TakeOver what that final match card looks like. If it's going to, you know, legitimately be, what is it, 5 guys?
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
So well, I guess I'm going to be interested to see if it is actually 5 guys, or if it's going to end up being 5 straight up mid-card guys, or if there is going to be a smattering of, oh, look, surprise, Finn Balor found his way into this match, or Kevin Owens found his way into this match.
Right.
I'll be interested to see what it turns out to be.
Yep.
Definitely going to be watching.
That is to be seen as well, for sure. Well,
Beef,
guys, we're getting a little bit long in the tooth here.
son of a bitch. Beat me to it. Beat me to it. Do you want to go ahead and give gratuities to the people that sponsor the show?
We are so thankful
Okay, this is
to have such wonderful sponsors like Casual Gaming Dad. Check him out on Casual Gaming Dad's Corner, where he plays all manner of video games, from
playing
retro
now as we record.
to modern. As well, Sean Tischler and everything he does with the IWC. That's right, the IWC. And his work with bringing them to Clearfield. Always produces a great show. Hopefully there will be some great shows in the future, sooner rather than later. But we are thankful to have all of those wonderful sponsors, like those two. Shoutouts to Gold Gaming for our wonderful shirts as well. Ransom?
P3 shirts. Take us home, pretty boy.
Oh, I get to talk now.
Okay.
No, no. Thank you guys so much for listening. You all applicable links are in the description down below for all those things we talked about, like Gold Gaming, and thank you to them as well. I know Beef thanked them, but also thank you to Casual Gaming Dad for Mr. Tiger. We gotta have one per episode there. Bomb Tom and his having us in his shop and having our shirt available. We really appreciate that. And things are getting confusing and interesting and turbulent in the world of wrestling, it seems. It really does. It's an interesting time that we live in, isn't it, folks? For Mr. Beast the Legend, Mr. Alec Ransom, and myself, the inevitable, reigning, defending, undisputed,
not defeated
Cruiserweight
Ransom
champion, Mr. Poot the Bard. Baby, have a wonderful evening.
Mad Champ's not defeated.
Suck my dick.
Oh. Oh no! Boop, ba-da-da-doop. Boop-ba-ba-da-boop. Poot the Bard. What a total tard! It's Poot the Bard. Gonna punch him right in the Charizard. Poot the Bard. Oh, well, I didn't weed whack that part, did I?